Hello, I'm Denise Phillips, professional chef and cookery writer from Northwood United Synagogue. For more details about my cookery events, recipes and events for Jewish singles, please see jewishcookery.com. This video focuses on the festival of Shavuot, which is the evening of Tuesday the 11th of June. It is at this time traditionally to enjoy dairy foods. And when we think about dairy foods, we include milk, butter, yogurt, cheese, white chocolate. And the variety is enormous, whether it's the style, the flavour, or even the low-fat style. And what they all have in common is their colour. It is their white, sort of whitey, yellowy colour that they have in common. And this symbolically represents cleanliness, purity, and it's just lovely to see the physical element connecting with the spiritual element. So as we eat our dairy food, we are really enjoying some wonderful spirituality in a physical way. Cheesecakes traditionally are divided into three parts. So we have the base, the filling, and the topping. And this is my recipe for today. It is an raspberry and Oreo cheesecake. And when we think about the base, you've got options. You can use biscuits, you could use pastry, you could use chocolate brownie, you could use sponge, or even a great gluten-free option is to use dates and nuts. You whiz it together and it binds well. Moving on to the filling, a few tips for that. Ideally, you want to take out your cheese that you're using, so it is room temperature, as well as your eggs, and also to cook it gently, because as I say, when you pop it into the oven, you want it to cook on about 160, 170, and then when it is cooked, turn the oven temperature off and let it set and cool in the oven so it doesn't crack. And then we come on to the topping, and this is your ideal opportunity to be creative. Once it is cool, ideally, say, let it set overnight, and then you can sprinkle over chocolate, you can crush nuts or put fruit on, and if you've got any cracks in that cake, it's a great way to camouflage them. So let's start with my recipe for today. As I say, it's Oreo and raspberry. And the first thing we're going to do is start by making the raspberry coulis, a little sauce. It is going to look just like this one I've got here. And the way to make that is that we add, and this is corn flour, we're going to add about a teaspoon on, let's say, it has to be cold water, and slake that in so it's all completely mixed in, so there's no lumps. And then you're going to bring your raspberries. Now the raspberries I've got, just to make life easy, they are frozen. So from a kosher point of view, it's much easier that they are frozen. You do not need to defrost them before use. We're going to bring that to the boil and going to stir in my corn flour, stir that in until it sort of melts. We're going to cook it for about 2 to 3 minutes, bring it to the boil, and then what you're going to do is just sieve it to remove all the pips. Now this is beginning to boil quite quickly, which is wonderful. Stirring that in, and what the corn flour does is just slightly thicken it. So I'm just going to stir that a little bit more, and when it is all cooked and boiling away, what we're going to do, I'm just going to move that over to one side using a sieve. Let's just move that over, just pour this, you can see this is really hot, using a sieve and a bowl, and just push all the puree out, and so you just have the seeds left. So I'm going to move that over because, as I said, I've got some already. Let me now discuss the next part of the recipe. The next part of the recipe is the base. Now, I'm using these Oreo biscuits, the plain ones, but what I want to show you is that I'm using the whole biscuit. I know it's got a cream part in, but we use the whole biscuit. We use 2 packets, and what I've done here, to get to this stage, I put 2 packets of biscuits into the food processor, together with 120 grams of butter, melted butter, whiz that together in the food processor, and then I put this on, so aligned, you can see the baking parchment paper, and then gently pressed the mixture into the corners, and then I baked it for 10 minutes. So this has now been baked, and now I want to talk you through to the filling. Now the filling, of course, it is cream cheese, and the cream cheese that I love is this particular one from Shevington's. It is a pot that comes with 500 grams. Let's say use this mixture. So I've got the lovely cream cheese. I'm going to add, this is vanilla. I'll add that. A little bit of, say, this is golden caster sugar. A little bit of salt, always a good option. Tiny bit of lemon. And some flour. And we're going to mix all this ingredients together. And then, as I said to you, it is white chocolate. So mixing these all together. So it's a lovely consistency. I'm just going to add all that flour as it stabilizes that. Adding 1 egg, mixing this together. It's good that you can do this by hand, and you can use your whisk as well if you wish to make sure that there's no lumps. And then my white chocolate. So I really want it to be nice and smooth, no lumps. Beautiful consistency. Here we have the melted white chocolate, so a lovely consistency here. And it's the white chocolate that helps to set this cake. A good consistency is what you need, and you let it set overnight. The only cooking part is the cooking of the base. So I'm now going to mix in the white chocolate. You can see it's a lovely, lovely consistency here now. Mixing it's nice. And now I'm going to transfer this into my cooked. Let's move this over to one side so you can see what I'm doing here. Give that a little tap. Pouring this mixture now into your prepared base, as I say, lined with parchment paper, and then we do is drizzle the raspberry puree. So you've got a sort of a swirl effect. I'll just move that over. Push the mixture right to the very sides. And then swirl in a little bit of raspberry. And then you let that set in the fridge for at least an hour, if not overnight. So I'm going to swirl a little bit of the mixture here, the raspberry which has had the seeds, just a little, and swirl that in. And it's got a lovely colour here. And just to swirl this in. Let it set. I'm going to put a little bit more in. Gorgeous colours, wonderful cheesecake. And I say let that set in the fridge. So when it's all set, I will move that, I'll move that over. When it is set, it comes out looking like this. You can see the colours and the texture of this. Let me just show you the one I have here. You can see the dark Oreo biscuit, the chocolate with the white a wonderful cheesecake, a wonderful recipe. So I hope you have a wonderful Shavuot, a great cheesy time. Best dishes, Denise. The full recipe is on my website, jewishcookery.com. I'd now like to pass you over to Rabbi Shia Green, who would like to give you the spiritual message for Shavuot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Denise. I love a good cheesecake. Hello everyone, I'm Shia Green, Rabbi at Northwood United Synagogue. The holiday of Shavuot may be coming very shortly, but let's cast our minds back to Pesach. During the Seder, we sit there and we sing our favorite song, Dayenu, where we say as follows: if God would have brought us to the mountain, but not given us the Torah, that would have been sufficient. But is that really the case? Do people think it would be good enough if they only bought tickets to the World Cup final, but stayed outside the stadium rather than going in to see the match? That doesn't make any sense at all. Rather, there must be something that was valuable, something intrinsic that was beautiful by all of the Jews having gathered at the foot of the mountain. Rashi, the foremost Torah commentator, comes to our rescue with an answer, and he tells us that the Jewish people gathered at the foot of the mountain as one. They were united. There were no disagreements. They were all gathered for a common goal. The lesson for us all is very clear to see. Unity. Through us being united, that is what will grant us that this year we should receive the Torah as the Jews did all those years ago. And let's focus on what unites us rather than what divides us. And this year, may we all receive the Torah and let its lessons illuminate our lives and bring peace into the world, specifically in the land of Israel, where they need it most. May God protect and guard everybody who lives in Israel and grant a lasting peace across the land. Amen. On behalf of everyone at Northwood United Synagogue, I wish you all Chag Shavuot Sameach. Thank you.